Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the penultimate episode of the Toffee Blues Opposition View this season. As always, I'm Max, and it brings me great relief to say there's only 2 more games to go. Up on Saturday, the final home game of the season, a 5:30 kick-off at Goodison Park. We're coming up against a Southampton side that have got a lot to fight for. They find themselves in the bottom 3, and if results go their way, they could certainly fight the way out of it. And in my opinion, they're a team that shouldn't be there in the first place. They're a really good team of some talented individuals, who I'm sure are going to be full of fight coming into this game. And as they're coming up against an Everton side who haven't got anything to play for, we all know what could go wrong. I sat down and talked to John Bailey of Saints FC podcast just to talk about what's gone wrong at Southampton this season, a couple of their players that I wouldn't mind grabbing for Everton if they were eventually to go down, and just what he expects from the game coming up on Saturday. Right. Joining us now is John from the Saints FC podcast. So John, it's great to have you on, mate. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, no worries.
First and foremost, I just want to ask, Southampton, Everton this season, you know, us Evertonians, we think we've had it bad, and there's still a possibility of us, you know, if results go drastically wrong for Burnley, we could still possibly finish in a Europa League spot. But for Southampton, you're a team that have finished in the top 10 for the last 4 Premier League seasons. You've got a terrific youth academy set up, and the reigns of Pochettino and Koeman seem to have stood you in really good stead going forward. I just want to ask, what's gone wrong this season?
Well, I don't think it's just this season, to be honest. I think if you look at the second half of last season, under Claude Puel, we just stopped scoring goals. We lost confidence from about February into the end of the season. It was pretty poor. And it wasn't, I know like lots of people looking from outside thought it was a big surprise when we sacked Puel, but I think for the Southampton fans, they didn't find it that much of a surprise. You know, under Pochettino, under Koeman, we'd got used to some pretty attractive and pretty impressive football.
Yep.
We'd got used to beating the teams that were bigger than us, with bigger budgets than us, with bigger stars than us. And you could see that under Puel, it was starting to go the other way. So, you know, I don't think they were wrong to sack him. I mean, hindsight, you might say, well, perhaps we should have stuck with him for a bit longer, or perhaps it wasn't that bad. But I think the real big mistake was Pellegrino. He didn't quite have the kind of the gravitas or the experience, I don't think. And it's funny, I met him and interviewed him for the Saints FC podcast. And he was kind of like a philosophical, deep thinker.
Yeah.
But he was avoiding the question as well.
Yeah.
So you'd ask him something and he'd just go off on this like rambling story, like, you know, maybe some ancient Greek philosopher, but, you know, I don't know how well that translates in getting to the players. You know,
Yeah.
I think the players need some quite clear directions.
Yeah.
And I just don't think he was able to do that. I don't think he was a natural leader either, which, you know, was a shame. He was a nice guy, but I don't think it's what we needed. And then I think there was a bit of a mistake, because our chairman came out and gave him a lot of support just before Christmas. And he gave this kind of big interview saying we're not going to sack him. Basically blamed all of our woes on Virgil van Dijk, which was ridiculous. You know, I mean, yeah, one player can be disruptive, but, you know, they can't derail a club in that sort of way.
Yeah.
And then when results really started going against us, the chairman had kind of backed himself into a corner. He couldn't really then go out and sack him because he looked like an idiot. So he didn't sack him for ages just to try and save face, and that's just totally cost us. We should have got rid of him around about Christmas time, January time, and I think, you know, we'd have been out of the mess. You know, you look at Everton, you were in a mess, you got in Allardyce, you're out of the mess now you can start thinking about the future, and we should have done that much sooner, and you know, we're in deep trouble. If we don't win at Goodison Park on Saturday, you know, I don't think we'll survive.
Yeah, but you mentioned there your chairman blamed a lot of your woes on the departure of Virgil van Dijk, obviously to our neighbours across Stanley Park, and they've obviously, I think it's become quite a joke within the football community that Liverpool just seem to chase any player who seems to have a good game for Southampton. So I've got a list of players here, well, three Southampton players, and I'd just like to get your opinion on them, what Southampton fans think of the player and the likelihood of them leaving the club for example, say if you were to go down. First and foremost, Ryan Bertrand.
Well, I think if we go down, Ryan Bertrand's definitely going to leave the club. It wouldn't surprise me too much if he left, even if we stayed up. To be honest, it's interesting with Bertrand. I mean, he's won the Champions League with Chelsea before. He is a good player. He gets in the England squad, plays for England regularly. When he's playing well, he is England's best left back, I think. But he also looks a little bit disinterested at times as well. I fully expect him to leave.
Another lad, my second pick, and he had a terrific performance against Bournemouth last weekend. He scored an absolutely fantastic goal. Something that I noticed, Dusan Tadic, he didn't really seem over-elated to have scored such a wonderful goal, and I'm just wondering if that would possibly play a part in him maybe departing in the summer.
Yeah, it's funny with Dusan Tadic. He actually gets quite a lot of stick from the Southampton fans, and the reason is because he's got so much ability. He is a really, really good player. He's a creative player. He's the kind of player that I think other teams worry about when they see his name on the team sheet, because he can cause trouble. But the thing with Dusan Tadic is I don't know if he would ever really get a move to a top 6 club. I think kind of like the clubs that are kind of like flirting with Europa League, top half of the table, like Southampton were for the previous 4 seasons, like Everton have been for the last couple of seasons. I think that's his level. I genuinely do. I don't think he would go higher than that. So I reckon if we stay in the Premier League, he'll stay. But if we go down to the Championship, I'm absolutely sure he'll leave.
Right, and lastly, a player who's been in the news lately for a bit of a bust up with Mark Hughes, Sofiane Boufal.
I mean, I would just be happy to see the back of him, regardless of what division we're playing in.
That's interesting.
I mean, he's got lots of talent, but he's not a team player at all. He scored that amazing goal against West Brom, where he took it around every single one of the West Brom players. But in the Premier League, you can't do that against most teams. You need to learn to pass. You need to learn to kind of, give and go. You need to learn to make space, draw players away. And he's just not a team player. He's a total individual, just totally focused on himself. And he is one of the most infuriating players to watch. Again, because he's got so much talent, but he's just so misguided in the way he thinks that he ought to use it. And the rumours are that there was a bit of a, Mark Hughes and Sofiane Boufal ended up pretty much in a fight in the dressing room after the Chelsea game because he was refusing to warm up. And, he's not the kind of player that you need in a relegation fight. And to be honest, earlier in the season when we were playing okay at times, he's like a passenger. He's a total luxury player because he doesn't take part in the rest of the team games. So just have him on as a luxury.
Right, that certainly changed my opinion of him then, because I've always thought of him as some sort of flair player that had taken it upon himself to change a game. And considering that one of the biggest problems with Everton this season is that we seem to have a group of individuals that have no idea how to play together as a team, I think that's really changed my opinion of him. And just
Sofiane Boufal would definitely fit into that sort of.
So just on that, I was wondering if are there any players in our squad that you would think would help solve Southampton's problems on the pitch?
Are there any players in Everton? I think Morgan Schneiderlin we would take back any day of the week. He was so good for us before he moved to Manchester United. It is a real shame to see that. We saw him come up from League One through the Championships, become a France international, and then become coveted by big clubs like Man United. He was a wonderful player. I mean, I think if we'd had him in the middle of the park, we wouldn't be in the situation we are. I think we're all really disappointed to have missed out on Theo Walcott as well. We have very fond memories of Theo when he was 16 years old, just tearing up the Championship and leaving Championship defenders on their arse and doing some really spectacular things. So, absolutely him. And A player who always scores against us, and the player who we'll be most worried about on Saturday is Gylfi Sigurdsson.
Well, he'll be out injured, but I say you're lucky there, mate. We've missed him no bound since he's been out injured.
Yeah,
he's absolutely fantastic player.
Well, that is fortunate for us.
Yeah,
and he scores against us every time. Sigurdsson is like Giroud. Giroud is another one of our nightmare players.
Yeah, Giroud's like that for Everton. I mean, when he plays against Everton, he always seems to score. It's quite interesting that you say that about Morgan Schneiderlin, because this season he's been at the centre of a lot of controversy with Everton fans for not giving his all when he's been on the pitch, because you can see a lot of the time Morgan Schneiderlin, he seems to be very lacklustre in that he has no motivation, and he seems to just roam around the pitch without any intensity. Is that something that you're surprised by?
I am surprised by that, actually, because a couple of seasons ago when he was playing for us, I think Tottenham came in for him and he was told he wasn't allowed to move, and he went on strike for a couple of games, and that didn't bode particularly well. But I think he was told, look, you do one more season here, you'll get your move to the big club at the end of that season. And he came back into the squads, and we were away to West Ham at Upton Park. It was like maybe the last or second last season at Upton Park, and he scored 2 goals. He just came straight back into it, guns are blazing. And his final season for Southampton, even though he knew he was moving on, he was just incredible. He was so good. He was a wonderful, wonderful player. So it surprises me that he's. I thought he was the kind of player that can kind of get over whatever it is that's upsetting him in the head and just still be a good player on the pitch. So it does surprise me that you guys have struggled with him.
Right. Well, when he's on form, because he certainly seems like he's playing his way into form now. I'm a huge fan of him. I do think he's an absolutely tremendous player, and it's likely that he's going to play on Saturday. Moving on to Saturday, obviously Southampton, you've got a hell of a lot to fight for, whereas Everton, we're pretty much dead in the water. Not much else is going on for us. Do you think that's going to factor in on Saturday, and what do you think the result's going to be?
I really, really hope it does. You guys could just do us an absolutely massive favour and just get yourselves on the beach before Saturday.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You've got nothing to play for. That would be really fantastic. But I mean, to be honest, we haven't won at Goodison Park since 1997, when Kevin Davis, I think when he was still a teenager, kind of like dribbled it around half your team and scores. And I think we've had 1 point at your place in the last 5 years. So I mean, we don't do very well at Goodison Park. Normally, we'd be very, very happy to get a point there. But I think on Saturday, we need all 3 points. It's totally desperate. And if our players aren't up for it, then, we don't deserve to stay up. It's simple as that. And to be honest, I just hope we give absolutely everything. And hopefully we'll get a bit of luck. Hopefully your players won't be at it. Maybe Theo Walcott and Morgan Schneiderlin can chip in with a couple of own goals. Support their old club. That'd be great.
Can I press you for a prediction? What do you think the score is going to be?
I think it's going to be like an agonising 2-2. I think there's going to be heartbreak at the end for Southampton.
Right, and just finally to close the show, obviously you've Everton this season, for my opinion, it's been a winnable fixture for most teams, because we've had a really off season by all means, and I know you've got Manchester City last game of the season, but you've got a huge clash against Swansea, which obviously they've got Bournemouth on Saturday, and if results go your way, that result could really be a determining factor in who goes down. Do you final question, are you going to stay up?
I really don't know, and if you'd asked me before Saturday, I'd have said definitely not. But Saturday has kind of given me this glimmer of hope, and I actually think 3 points out of those 3 games might just be enough to keep us in the division. I don't think Huddersfield are going to get another point this season. I don't think we can worry too much about Swansea, because they've also got Stoke on the last day of the season. So I think Swansea are going to get out of trouble. Or, if Swansea don't, then Stoke are going to be getting an extra 3 points. but I think Huddersfield could be the ones that could slip into it. But it's not a nice position to be in. We need to pull off some results that we don't normally get, and we also need to rely on other people to lose. But some tiny part of me thinks that we'll just somehow do it.
Right. To be honest, for the sake of the Premier League, I think you've got some absolutely fantastic individual players. Me personally, I do think that I hope that you do stay up, mate. So thanks for coming on. It's been great to speak to you.
Yeah, you too, Max. Anytime.
Cheers. So there we have it. It was great to talk to John, just to listen to his thoughts on what's gone wrong at Southampton this season, his opinion on several of their key players, and how he feels Saturday's game is going to go. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe if you're enjoying the videos, and come on you Blues for Saturday.